The Pakistan Air Force has successfully conducted high-speed, taxi trials for a fresh batch of J-10C Vigorous Dragon fighter jets, which arrived from China earlier this week. The trials, held at an operational airbase, tested the braking systems and engine performance under full load. Defense sources indicate these aircraft are being fast-tracked for induction to bolster the PAF's Omni-role capabilities in the southern sector. Tehran has drawn a red line regarding its defense capabilities. In a televised address, the Iranian defense minister reiterated that the country's ballistic missile program is strictly defensive and non-negotiable in any future diplomatic talks. This statement comes in response to renewed Western pressure to curb Iran's long-range missile development, with Tehran warning that any attempt to disarm it will be met with accelerated production. The Pakistan Army has launched Operation Blue Swift in the Kachi Canal area of Balochistan. The intelligence-based operation aims to secure critical irrigation infrastructure from insurgent sabotage. Early reports confirm that paramilitary forces have cordoned off key sectors of the canal to clear out militant hideouts that were threatening the province's water distribution network. Riyadh has issued a stern directive to Yemen's Southern Transitional Council, urging the separatist group to immediately cede control of seized territory and government institutions. The demand comes as Saudi Arabia seeks to salvage the fragile Riyadh agreement. The kingdom warns that continued internal divisions only undermine the legitimacy of the internationally recognized government, and the fight against Houthi rebels. Diplomatic sources suggest that any refusal to withdraw from strategic zones in Aden could jeopardize future coalition support and stall critical peace negotiations. Unity remains the priority, but will the separatists step back from the brink? From Gwadar to Washington, this is Pak Geo Defense Update, Pakistan's voice in the world of defense and geopolitics. Please subscribe. We move to a significant strategic development in the region. India and Afghanistan have officially activated a new air freight corridor, a move designed to bypass Pakistan entirely for trade. The first cargo flight landed in New Delhi today, carrying Afghan agricultural products, with the return leg scheduled to carry pharmaceuticals and machinery. This corridor is seen as a direct challenge to Pakistan's geographic leverage over Afghan trade. By establishing this aerial bridge, New Delhi and Kabul are aiming to reduce Afghanistan's dependence on Pakistan's land routes, potentially causing a significant dip in transit trade revenue for Islamabad. Analysts view this as an economic encirclement strategy, deepening the commercial ties between Pakistan's eastern and western neighbors while excluding Islamabad from the loop. In Africa, the United States has opened a new front in its counter-terrorism operations. U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM, has confirmed a series of precision airstrikes against ISIS strongholds in northern Nigeria. This marks a strategic pivot for the Pentagon, shifting focus to the Sahel region as it becomes the new global epicenter for extremist groups. The strikes targeted leadership compounds and weapons depots. Defense experts argue this re-engagement signals Washington's growing alarm that the security vacuum in West Africa is directly threatening Western interests, prompting a return to kinetic action after a period of relative dormancy in the region. A diplomatic row has erupted between Islamabad and London. The Foreign Office has issued a formal démarche to the British High Commission following credible threats made against Chief of Defence Forces, CDF, Munir during his visit to London. Reports indicate that aggressive protests by diaspora groups crossed the line into direct incitement of violence against the military leadership. Pakistan has conveyed its serious concern regarding the security arrangements provided by the UK government, terming the failure to curb these threats as a violation of diplomatic norms. Islamabad is demanding a thorough investigation and stricter legal action against those inciting violence on British soil. In Islamabad, a major structural change in military command is now complete. The new Chief of Defence Forces headquarters has become fully operational. This state-of-the-art complex is designed to centralize command and control across the Army, Navy, and Air Force, replacing the older, segmented leadership structures. The facility features a hardened, nuclear survivable command center and real-time data integration from all frontiers. Defense insiders say this move transitions the military from a service-specific command model to a fully integrated joint force doctrine, streamlining decision-making during crises and reducing reaction times against hybrid threats. Turning to the economy, a new report from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, contains a startling projection for Pakistan. The fund projects a steep rise in the country's defense spending through 2030. While the IMF typically advocates for austerity, this report acknowledges the deteriorating regional security environment as a driver for unavoidable military expenditure. The projection accounts for inflation, the acquisition of next-generation hardware, and ongoing counter-terrorism operations. However, the report warns that this increase will severely constrain the fiscal space for development projects, urging Islamabad to find a way to balance national security with economic solvency to avoid a debt trap. The government is tightening the noose on digital dissent. The Interior Ministry has launched a sweeping crackdown on social media accounts identified as issuing threats to the military leadership. Utilizing new cyber surveillance tools, the Federal Investigation Agency, FIA, has reportedly traced hundreds of accounts to troll farms operating both domestically and offshore. The minister has stated that freedom of speech is not a license for mutiny, warning that individuals found guilty of inciting violence against state institutions will face trial under the Army Act and cybercrime laws. This zero-tolerance policy marks the state's most aggressive attempt yet to dominate the narrative in the information domain. Beijing has stepped in to fortify Pakistan's defense logistics. A Chinese transport fleet has delivered the third shipment of humanitarian aid for disaster-resilient military infrastructure. While labeled as humanitarian, this aid package focuses on rebuilding military engineering capabilities in flood-prone zones. The shipment includes prefabricated heavy-duty bridges, amphibious engineering vehicles, and advanced drainage pumps. This assistance is critical for the Pakistan Army, whose logistical lines were severely damaged in recent climate disasters. Strategically, it ensures that the military's mobility remains intact even during natural catastrophes, maintaining operational readiness on the eastern border despite climate challenges. Finally, a major success in the war on terror financing. The Anti-Narcotics Force, ANF, has seized over 300 kilograms of high-grade heroin and methamphetamines in coordinated raids nationwide. Officials state that this was not just a drug bust, it was a counter-terror operation. Intelligence revealed that the proceeds from this narcotics shipment were destined for militant networks operating in the tribal districts. By intercepting this haul, the ANF claims to have disrupted a major funding pipeline for anti-state elements. The operation highlights the growing narco-terror nexus, where insurgent groups are increasingly turning to the drug trade to finance their war against the state. That's enough for today. Share your thoughts in comments section, and please answer today's question.